Here's what happened. You see?
Perfect.
Hey everyone, it's Kristen. Welcome to my home kitchen. This week's Genius recipe is for a 100% whole wheat pancake that is just as delicious, just as tender, just as comforting as your favorite buttermilk pancakes, thanks to a genius trick. So this week's recipe comes from Josie Baker, but it does not come from his cookbook, Josie Baker Bread. I actually saw it on his Instagram feed. So that's how simple this recipe is. It could fit in an Instagram post. So we are going to talk to Josie in a little bit to hear more about this recipe, but for now, let's start pancaking.
So stick around for a spatula section. Oof.
So you know how in most baking recipes, if you're trying to make them whole grain, people will say, start with no more than 25% whole grain mixed in with your all-purpose flour, or even if you're more conservative, like 10 or 15%. All of that flour that I just measured in there is 100% whole wheat flour. And I'm just going to dump in some milk and stir that all up. All of that 100% whole wheat flour and milk is mixed up, and here is Josie to explain the genius secret behind this recipe.
You know, Cassidy, my son, was my taste tester on these, and basically over time I increased the amount of whole wheat flour, incrementally to sort of warm him up to these. And the great success, the great victory was the day where they were 100% whole wheat, and he just ate them all happily. It's like, I've done it.
Okay, so specifically about this soaking thing, how is that making the pancake so much better?
Yeah, so by doing the overnight soak, you allow the whole wheat flour to fully hydrate. Also, due to some enzymatic activity, you make more of the sugars available, which leads to more caramelization in the cooking process. And what it yields is a pancake that is actually a little bit sweeter. And also in texture, it's sort of smoother and creamier because the whole wheat flour has been fully hydrated by that longer amount of time.
So this has to wait and keep hydrating. And I have the stuff that I mixed last night, and it looks like that. I tested these side by side, and the difference completely blew me away. The ones that were made straight from mixing together were good, especially right out of the pan. They were delicious. But then you taste these next to them and you're like, oh, that's what I want my pancakes to really be. They're tender, they're like, melting isn't the right word, but it's like the grains have kind of just dissipated in. Here, they haven't really had a chance to soak up all that milk to like really become one with the batter, and here they have. I tried like 4 variations yesterday. It's good news. All of them work in one way or another. They'll just give you slightly different results. So depending on what you need to do and what you want, this pancake batter will work for you. From here, it's very straightforward, like any old pancake recipe. We've got a little salt, a little baking soda, we've got a little sugar. And by the way, I'm making a double batch, so we have even more pancakes than we have filling our fridge right now, but also so that I can just have plenty to show you. Okay, and vanilla. Yes. And 2 eggs for the double batch. Okay, so we have some melted and slightly cooled butter. And now this all just gets mixed together. And as Josie says, you don't have to worry about overmixing it. You can really just work at it until it's nicely combined. Now we have pancake batter, and we can go flip them over here. Okay, that seems hot, but not so hot that the butter is burning before I get my batter in, so that's a good thing. hopefully. So I have a 1/3 cup measure right now, but I'm not putting the whole amount in if it looks like it's gonna get too close to the other friends in the pan. This is a great time for spatula tour though, I think. So please tell me, what is your favorite pancake flipper? Because I have one. This is a spatula that I grew up with in my family. My mom wants to make sure that we always have some, so I actually have it in several colors. And it's kind of perfect for flipping things like pancakes because it is sturdy enough to get under, but also thin enough. It's lightweight, so you can kind of maneuver well around other pancakes, but also it's not metal, so it can go in a nonstick pan. It was the perfect amount of time for spatula tour. Woo, looking good. It's a good preheat. Woo, all right. How does it smell, Mike?
Smelling good.
Yeah. Okay, these look pretty perfect on the bottom too. So I'm going to transfer them to my warm oven with my rack and a sheet pan. I know that some of you are gonna say use a cast iron pan. I bet you are, because then the heat will hold a little bit more evenly, and you're probably right. I just really love how nonstick this one is. It's so fun to be able to just scoot your semi-cooked pancakes around in the pan.
Blackened pancakes.
I'm having so much fun.
That's the one. Do you like rants? Long rants about spatulas?
Spatula tours, stories about my daughter,
Burnt pancakes?
not following the recipe, all of those and more if you hit like and subscribe. But more importantly, you will get all of the genius recipes and you'll hear all of the stories from the real geniuses behind the recipes, and then you will see me narrowly avoid messing them up every time. So I was wondering what happens if you mix the whole batter the night before instead of having to do part at night, part in the morning. And I did that and it worked. It may have been slightly less tender when I mixed the whole batter. I do think that, true to the spirit of the recipe, this is probably a slightly better result. Also, if you are wondering about making these buttermilk, I've tried that too. It was excellent. It made the batter a little bit thicker, so you had to kind of nudge it into place more, but it was also delicious. Basically, everything I've tried with these pancakes has become good pancakes. They'll just be slightly different. I also wanted to know what Josie thought about this, so I asked him.
I love buttermilk pancakes, and one version of this did have buttermilk. We ran out of buttermilk, and I was like, you know what? How many people have buttermilk? It's already a little bit of stretch to say we're gonna make whole wheat pancakes, right? Because of the bad rap that whole wheat has. And so I decided to kind of like, let's just strip this down and have it like just really focus on the fact that it's whole wheat and kind of try to make everything else as easy as possible with, like, you know, yeah, if you want to make them sourdough, you can, because, like, again, a lot more people have sourdough starters than they did before the pandemic. You don't need to, right? If you want to mix them the night before, you can. It'll make them really good. But you don't need to. And so it was an attempt to kind of walk the line of making something that's really delicious while not making it. Really, my goal is always like, I want people to try making this recipe.
Okay, ready? Let's see how this goes. All right. Ooh, yeah. Yum.
Good luck.
Time to eat pancakes. Kristen.
Some would say it's time to clean up our spatulas, but
Not today. Ooh, okay, check it out. Fluffy. Do they look good?
nice.
I mean, actually, this is probably too big of a bite, but maybe I'll go for it anyway. These pancakes are amazing. I've been so excited to tell you about them, and I've been just sitting on it knowing that as soon as the right moment arrived for me to reveal these pancakes, you were gonna lose your minds because they're really, really good. I can't wait to hear what you think of them. Please try them. Let me know what you do. Let me know what riffs you make. And check out Josie Baker's Instagram feed for more recipes like this. And check out the Genius Recipe Tapes podcast where I got to talk to him all about this and all the other things he's doing. And we will see you in 2 weeks.
Nice, tight. Nailed it.